This is a bit of a connecting the dots because I can't think of a better way to frame this of short videos that I've been doing on TikTok and I may put the very beginning of this on TikTok, but this is definitely going up on YouTube because it'll handle easily the longer content of the different pieces that I see as being tied together for a completely different way to look at what we today call mental health. And in a lot of ways, mental health, as we're talking about it today in America and globally, really, is the end result of a bunch of things that have happened. And it's actually not mental health, it's mental unhealth, because we haven't previously had existing education structure, processes, understanding for what actual mental health is to begin with. Instead, we're waiting until people are really damaged before we step in to try and help them. And that's kind of like waiting to treat people clinically until after they're in stage 4 cancer, or they've had their third heart attack in a row. When the potential is to get up front with a very different set of, frankly, education and behaviors so that those end results don't happen. And people can complain and say, oh no, but I've got blah, 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 that's a genetic whatever. I haven't interviewed everyone in the world, I will admit, but I've interviewed a lot of people, as has my partner, as have many, many other clinicians. And what's been found across the board is that when you dive down deep, there's a common set of challenges people are struggling with that are not genetic. They're actually a lack of education about how to manage their brains, how to manage their brain chemistry, how to manage the world around them. And because of that lack of knowledge, they have really, really, really big struggles. I've had those struggles in the past when I didn't have the knowledge. So I'm speaking not only from people that I've been interviewing and working with and helping, as has my clinician partner, but also my own experience in the world of having really deep struggles and being in very, very dark holes, and then coming out of those because I learned how to manage my brain better, and I learned better behaviors and better ways of operating in the world that made those places of despondency and fear and feeling powerless, those places became places of playground and fun and joy and empowered. And I don't have any kind of like superpower. I'm not a Marvel character. I just went after learning, and there's 30 years of clinical research to back this up over and over and over again in all kinds of contexts. And if you think that having this problem, that if you believe that this problem and keeping this problem, whatever it is that you have, ultimately makes you feel safer and more powerful in the world because you can point to it, if that works for you, great. That's not what I would choose personally, because that road is full of constant ongoing frustration and inability to get things to happen and complaining. The road that I'm on and that we teach people how to do is learning how to solve those kinds of problems, learning skills that you didn't know that allow you to move forward in those places where you feel powerless and to achieve goals and to have complaining become ridiculous. I've mentioned in multiple videos this metaphor of swimming and some very real world examples. I'm really comfortable in the water. I grew up swimming competitively, scuba diving, surfing, water skiing, windsurfing. And a few years ago, I took up whitewater rafting along with my kids, who at that time were like 12 and 15. Went with some friends, South Fork of the American River, and on our, I want to say our second trip down the river, we all got dumped out. The guy that was guiding made a miscalculation. The people that were paddling didn't know how to correct for it, and we ran up on a rock. Everybody got dumped out. I went under the boat, bounced between the boat and the bottom, popped out the other end, went over a little waterfall, popped up. It was like, oh my God, that was so much fun. Where are my kids? My kids popped up. We're all laughing about it, thinking it's hilarious, looking around to see where everybody else is, getting over to the side, getting out. I'm like, okay, over there's a beach. Let's head for the beach right there. My kids are headed over to the beach. We're seeing other people. We're trying to help them. There's a throw rope. Everybody gets out of the water. My kids and I are kind of we're laughing about it. We thought it was a really fun ride. Some of the other people, not so much. Some of the people are really shook up about it because they don't have our level of comfort in the water and our years of practice and playtime in the water, under the water, whatever, that gives us the ability to not be afraid in that context. And so we get everything squared away. We collect all the stuff. We get the boat off the rocks. We all go in. We all go down the river. We have, my kids and I think it's a great adventure, right? A little while later, I'm talking with a friend of mine about it. And I mentioned this experience and how much fun it was and how my kids loved it. This person goes into full-on panic mode. That's a death trap, and how could you possibly do that? He had a very similar experience, scariest moment of his life. He doesn't know how to swim. Now, we all had life jackets on, right? But he doesn't know how to swim. He's not comfortable in or under the water. We think it's a playground. Having the skills makes a radical transformation between where my kids and I were and where that guy was, who is never going to go near whitewater rafting again in his life. This is a metaphor for everything, really. Whether you can see it right now or not, it actually is. And it's all about skills. Like everything in the world is about skills. And I didn't recognize this when I was in my deepest, darkest holes 20 years ago. Because no one had ever said anything to me that gave me a clue that it was about skills. And in fact, I had heard things that had me think that places where people had freedom but I didn't, was they were genetically gifted. That there was some magic that had happened for them someplace in their childhood that gave them the ability to do these things that for me, well, they were impossible. And it wasn't until someone explicitly said to me that something that I was seeing as a place of impossibility and powerlessness and a real serious career problem for me. They said, oh, that's just some skills you have to learn. Here's where you can go start it. And I was like, wait, what? They said, oh yeah, here, you can learn right here. And they actually broke down this problem I was struggling with into, oh, like to start with, you need to know this skill, this skill, this skill, and this skill. And no one had ever said that to me before. And it was kind of like the clouds parted and I got a ray of sunshine because I can go after learning skills. Like okay, great, I can learn those skills. None of them look like they're insanely hard. And where do I start? The places that I had been afraid, I turned into places where I have a lot of confidence, places where I have a lot of experience, places where I feel comfortable and relaxed, and it's a playground. And this is the difference between struggling with depression, anxiety, feeling disempowered, imposter syndrome, I'm not good enough, procrastination, lack of motivation, feeling lonely, any of those things, and being able to get to the complete opposite end of the spectrum and feeling confident and feeling empowered and not feeling afraid of things and feeling like you have tons of friends and tons of possibilities and that the world really is a playground for you to enjoy and experience and to help other people. Once you can start to wrap your head around this and you can start to work your way down this path, there's all kinds of doors that open up. There's all kinds of opportunities that become possible for you that previously you couldn't have imagined. And you would have said no to, you would have ignored. And at the core, it's because you wouldn't have known that it was possible that you could be successful in that thing. I didn't know when I started swimming, when I was 7 years old, 6 years old, where that would take me. I had no idea that I'd be riding big waves in Hawaii or that I'd be going scuba diving in the Philippines or any of the other stuff that I've done in the water. But I knew I wanted to learn how to swim and have fun in the water when I was a little kid. Swimming is a gateway sport to many other possibilities. The way that we look at these skills that we teach people is they're gateway skills. And there's all kinds of possibilities that come available once you learn the skills that without them you can't do. You can't go scuba diving if you can't swim. That's just the way that it works. In so many places, there's the foundational layer of skills, and then there's the next layer, 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 the next layer. You're leveling up. It's like playing video games. But you have to start. No one gets to be level 150 in a video game by not starting the video game. You have to start and work your way up and practice and practice and practice and keep incrementally getting better and moving your way up the skill stack. That's all there is to it. And as you realize along the way, oh my God, I'm actually getting better and better at this stuff. And you can have gratitude for that. And you can recognize, oh, here's a new place where I need to start off as a beginner again and learn some skills and then get better. You have wide-ranging possibilities, and it's really just a question of picking where it is you want to go. And you got to learn the foundation layers first, otherwise the rest of it isn't available, right? Yeah. And that is such an important part of this message is you need to get the gateway skills, the starting skills, before you can move up to the other higher levels. Yeah, I think that's it for this video. I think that's enough, and I'm gonna post it. Hope you're having a good one. Thanks.